Oh, hi, Kelly.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Emma.
Because we know each other, I think that's why it's quite funny to be so
formal.
But Kelly B. Jones, you are an actress and voice artist.
Yes.
When did you first realize that you wanted to be an actress?
Ooh. Okay, so I think it kind of happened in stages, but there was, I guess the key moment would have been in school, in secondary school.
Okay.
So I'm actually an introvert, and a lot of people think I'm an extrovert, but I think the extroversion takes energy, out of me. So in school, I was quite shy, and then I found drama club and drama class, and I really enjoyed expressing myself in plays. So I did a lot of plays there, and it helped give me confidence, like to be more social with my friends and not be terrified every time I'm on my way to school. So it was definitely a savior. So I loved acting then.
So secondary school was like kind of the first time that you were like, I want to be an actress.
Yeah.
What fears or doubts did you struggle with early on? Because like you said, it can be ongoing. But in the early days, when you were at school as well, because school is something.
Well, along with being a teenager in that time, the insecurities were through the roof. And so if I allowed them to take over, I performed not as well as I could. And that was a constant back and forth battle. It was not that much of a problem, except when I started to do dance. So I started to do dance class outside of school. And then there were musicals that were kind of falling into my world. And I was cast in a few of them. And these were for public. And that was the struggle when I realized that appearance was very important to them, not necessarily to me, but to them. So that was when I started to realize, oh, you're too overweight, or you're not more beautiful enough, so you must go in the back, or you can't have this role because of your looks. Basically, I learned of the importance. I don't want to use the word importance, but I learned of the focus that the industry had on appearance, and that really, that didn't do well with me. Yeah, that made me very insecure.
Right. So actually, your internal, you had confidence internally.
Yeah.
But it was when you were placed in situations where external feedback was kind of controlling your experience with acting and the arts, that's when you started to have
self-doubt and insecurities. Because, look, I can control my craft and my performance, and it's up to me, right? My discipline and my hard work and my rehearsals. I can't control how I look. I really can't. I mean, this is me as I am, unless you would, go all plastic surgery.
Which is
crazy.
Stunning, by the way.
Thank you. But like in that world, especially when I started to blend into film and it was a lot of TV commercials, the focus was only on how you look.
Yeah.
How is your skin? What is the color of your skin? Why are you so short? Oh, you're too fat. Or, all of these things were more important than your performance. And I think that's still, today.
I think so too, actually. How did you get through that?
I have a strong support system at home. That was quite important.
Okay.
My mother, my sister, just my family in general were very supportive. And I think at that age, I was also, there's a little part of me that had a lot of hope. So I would just be like, okay, well, that didn't work out. I just have to try this way. And then I think, if anything, the positive outcome was the more doubt I felt, the more I wanted to work on my craft. I wanted my performance to overcome my appearance. Don't judge me just by what you see, but what I can do. And so if I could just be in front of the right people at the right time, they will see, that I could bring value to your project through my human performance.
I mean, that in itself takes a certain level of mental resilience, because at this point where you've got people telling you that potentially you can't do it or that you're not good enough, you kind of have two options at that point: to believe that and to think, oh, you know what, like, this career path obviously isn't for me, you know, maybe I should just give up on it. You chose to actually use that as your power to do better, to push through.
But not perfectly though, Emma, because obviously I went through a lot of self-doubt moments where I thought maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe this isn't right for me, or attacking the industry like it's them, they're awful, blah, blah, blah. But the problem that was I could never get away from it. So I have tried to leave this industry so many times. I have tried to leave acting on stage and in film and be like, you know what, it's not for me. I don't like it anymore. But I die inside. So my passion is purely acting. And when I stop it for too long, I'm withering away. So I need to do it. That's it. It's just very simple.
Because it's in the car and that's what keeps you going.
Exactly.
And I think that's probably one of the most important tips to anyone who is experiencing self-doubt. If you feel it in your soul that it's something that you just have to do, even if you cannot explain why, you just know that you have to do it. You just keep going.
Exactly.
You just keep doing.
That's
I love
so beautiful. If you feel it in your soul and you can't explain it, that's exactly it. To just keep going.
Oh, and look where it got you, because you did keep going, and you know, so many years down. And I also want to speak about, because you're a mixed nationality. And we've already spoken a little bit about how, you know, certain areas of the industry can be very judgmental and specific about looks and backgrounds. Did that also affect your self-belief at any point?
It affected my sort of hope a bit, and my drive, because it wasn't that. I'm half Thai, half Welsh. My look, I would say now, I kind of understand that I don't look Thai, but I also don't look fully Western, right? So I'm somewhere in between. And I learned very quickly that in the film industry, roles and characters were very typecast and very specific. Black or white, you know, A or B, Asian or not Asian. And so when an American film, for example, would come here, the reason they would come here is because they would like to see a Thai face. Those roles are what they want to cast. And if you're not Thai, then you're Western. And that was it. Very rarely, specifically in the time that I started, there weren't a Eurasian woman aged this. That was never in the character description. And so already my chances are low when I went for auditions, because I'm neither. So that, again, would have to come through my performance. No, I'm not a white woman, and no, I'm not a fully Thai person, but I can do your scene and I can carry it and just, you know, hopefully elevate your film. So my opportunities were less, and that was discouraging, because you know, they're already so little, the opportunities. So and oftentimes I would be like shortlisted and then not chosen because of that. You're not Thai enough, you're not Western, you're Caucasian enough, you know. So it was like, what can I do about that? That's another thing that is beyond my control.
And so how did that change over has it changed, or does it still affect?
It has changed. The world has become a little more blended and a little more woke, I guess. And now oftentimes nationalities aren't said in the characters. They just state whether they want, what kind of character they want. A 30 to 45-year-old psychiatrist, female, you know, that would be sometimes the only, or they'll say the accent that they want, a British accent or American accent. And in other ways that it's changed, I don't really know. I think that's purely it. it was honestly like a decade-long battle for me. It was, sorry, you're not Asian enough. Sorry, you're not Western enough. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I would kick back. Sometimes I would say, you want an American woman, right? Have you been to America? Mm. Have you looked at the women in the US or in the UK? Mm. Is everybody, white? Mm. No, there are all sorts of immigrants coming in, mixing in, and you've got Italian, Spanish, Latino, Asian, you've got all of it in there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it worked. Where I'd say that, they'd be like, good point. And then a role would come out of it.
The film industry is, I think, still quite male-centric. Has that ever affected you on set? Have you ever come across any challenges with that?
As an actress, yes. I think mostly in the understanding of my character being directed by a male sometimes would make an assumption on how a woman would react in a certain situation. Mm-hmm. And I think my challenge in that particular situation was to say that that's wrong. That's not what a woman would do, mm-hmm. And there was nobody in that moment really to back me up in this. So it was a male perspective trying to portray a woman's perspective. And so I think that was where the struggle is. And in the end of the day, I'm the actress and they're the director and I have to do what they say, right? Mm. But I did struggle with that. That's been a couple times that I've experienced that, yeah.
Did you, mm-hmm. you struggled with acceptance or you struggled with speaking up?
Ooh, good question. Both.
Right.
Yeah. Earlier in my career, speaking up was absolutely, I never did that. Especially in my early 20s, I just nodded, smiled, and did what I was told.
Why was that?
I was afraid of losing the very little opportunities that I already had. And I didn't think that my voice was important. So, yeah, that's so true. I didn't think my voice was important. So that was kind of, what is that? That's imposter syndrome, I guess. Also in maybe not just Thailand, maybe all around the world, I felt to speak up was to cause a problem, to be difficult to work with. And then they don't want to work with her anymore because she's too much. She's difficult. She has emotions. Ew. Right? And so I was just trying to be as easygoing. I'm already an easygoing person, but in that particular situation, I was just trying to be as easygoing as I could so that people would work with me again.
What was the turning point for you? From going from being quiet and not speaking to now speaking up?
Yeah. I can't remember who said it to me now, which is terrible. Oh, it was an actor. And he said, you auditioned for this, right? I said, yes. And he's like, and out of all the people, they selected you, right? And I was like, yes. And he's like, that's it. It's so simple. Have that in your gut and remind yourself of that, that you're meant to be here because they chose you. You're not, there because you're lucky. You're there because you did what they wanted and they want you on set. They want your input and they want your craft and they want your artistic opinion in the form of performance, in the shape of performance. So it was such a simple thing, but in the moment it was like, and I was like, oh yeah. And when you have that feeling of self-worth, it's a game changer because then you're like, I'm meant to be here. I mean, obviously you don't get cocky with it and you don't allow it to get to your ego, but you allow it to ground you. It's so human and so normal to be judging yourself and anxious and doubting have the imposter syndrome, doubting why you're even there on set. But the most important thing that I learned, I think, is grounding. And if you can do that, and also preparation. So anxiety comes also, and self-doubt also, when you didn't do the work. So if you didn't prepare your character before coming on set, if you don't know your lines, that will show. Mm-hmm. It's like being on set is like also like an X-ray to your soul a bit. So you're like, oh my God, I did not work on it enough. That is why I'm nervous. Acknowledge that, though. We're not perfect.
Yes.
So acknowledging that, okay, all right, I slept late last night. I only just learned my lines last night. I didn't prepare my character enough. Acknowledge that. And then you tell yourself the truth. It releases it right there on set. Then you can well, I have some time now. I can really get into it. Because we can all say work hard, prepare, but life happens and you're not always going to be prepared. So, yeah. Another thing that I kind of learned with experience is to not take things personally. Because in my early 20s, I think I was like an open wound and allowing every little thing to be like, oh no, it's me, oh no. And I realized as my world expanded, every single person has their own universe going on inside of them. And on set, every single person has their own duties, tasks, thoughts. They maybe had a shit sleep last night or they're anxious about something else. So everyone has their own, especially the director. So the director has so much going on, and you are one of maybe 50 actors sometimes on a large production, that your emotions and your feelings and your self-doubt and your insecurities are not his priority at all. And so once you detach from that, it also makes it easy. So if you did a take and the director's like, right, let's move on, and a part of you's like, was that good? Was it bad? Do I need to do it again? They hate me. Why am I here? Oh my God. And it's just because he was actually happy with it and he needs to move on.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of, especially young actresses out there, forget this. And so it feeds into their insecurities, and then they go home and they might cry about it, or they become more anxious and more insecure. And that's something I would have told younger me. I wish younger me knew that.
To the actors out there who are like, oh, I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not tall and I have beautiful hair, and I don't know. The actor that's sitting at home thinking that, kind of like, what would you say to that? Because you've kind of had those feelings before in the past.
I can tell you a story. I won't say any names. It actually really stuck with me till today, and it was something I had to work very hard to remove. An American, Hollywood industry casting director said to me, you're cute, but you're not beautiful. So you can get great roles, but you'll never be a leading lady.
Oh, God.
And I was like, And then, continued to say the opposite to the girl next to me.
Right there.
But you could be a leading lady, but like that. And so casually, so throwaway. And in that moment, I could have cried. But I didn't. I just went, and I took it in. And that was a seed that was planted in my mind. It was like, oh, I'm not beautiful enough. I can't be a leading lady. And I was like, I bet that many actresses have heard these kind of words to them before, coming from producers, directors, casting people, agents. And I think the advice that I would want to have given my younger self or to other younger actresses out there would be, don't listen. Don't take this in. Really, really ground yourself in who you are and what you believe in. If you want it enough, of course, if you're passionate enough about it, anybody can be a leading lady. Honestly, every woman and man and everything in between has the right to a story, has the right to their moment on screen or on stage. So I think that's a very dinosaur thing to have said to me, right? Because it's like, maybe in the 80s or the 90s, to be a leading lady, you had to be an absolute stunner, right? Charisma is a different thing. That's chemistry is a different thing. But just purely on your looks, I think that's so ancient and outdated, and I don't think that is true at all.
If we were to, give this as like medication in a bottle, right, to someone who's like going through this and having all of this false news fed to them, let's say, for them, in order for them to overcome that,
right,
and to still push through and to not sit and dwell in it, like, what is that? What is the solution to that?
Oh my God, that's a huge question. And what is the solution to global insecurity? From
your experience.
From my experience. Yeah. Well, like that actor told me, knowing that you're meant to be somewhere, and knowing your worth. So there's no magic sentence or piece of advice that I could give. It's something that takes a while to work on, but meditation, self-affirmations, and keeping up with those things really help to ground you. Staying in, specifically for actors, staying in any form of an acting class, training, as you would if you were an athlete, you would be every day in that gym, right? And maintaining your health. It's the same thing. Moving, exercising, meditating, self-affirmations, wellness activities, things that make you feel good will all be your medicine when you're in a moment where all the noise comes in. You have this powerful foundation and base under you with your roots deep in the ground that nothing can shake you, right? But if you don't maintain that, your roots will shorten and someone will go, and you'll just fall over because you're not strong enough. So it takes work. I don't have the one magical narrative, unfortunately, but it's a collection of things, at least for me.
Have there been any moments where fear has won?
Yeah, there has.
Can we dive into it?
I will try and keep it not too detailed, but yes. Was cast in a role, a good one that I've always wanted. And then the fear set in, and subconsciously I sabotaged my opportunity and I was fired. And it was heartbreaking, but I just didn't feel like I deserved to be there, and I didn't feel like I was good enough for this role. And so I almost sabotaged the work that I needed to do behind the scenes to do my best on set. And then was cast and then was fired and replaced. This is the only time that's ever happened to me, but it's one time that shook me to my core. And I was devastated because I was like, hang on a minute. I allowed that to happen because of my own insecurities and my own self-doubt. That's literally my own fear. That's literally what lost me this job and this amazing opportunity. Also, the pay that I needed at that time to pay my bills. So I was really distraught by this. Obviously, I was very young when this happened, but I think that was like a wake-up call to show me that this fear doesn't serve me, literally. It did not serve me. It's actually affecting my ability as an actress.
Right.
And so, therefore, it is pointless. There's no reason for it. Some fears are necessary, right? Like if you, I don't know, see a bunch of stray dogs ahead of you, you need to have that fear, but because of survival. But this fear isn't. This is completely artificial, non-self-serving bullshit. Yeah. So, yeah, that was the time that I gave in, and that I think was an important lesson for me, and it was a game changer. So it does have a positive outcome.
I was going to say, and you know, again, it's a similar kind of thing with failure. Sometimes failing can be the best thing that you could ever do for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you learn from it, and if you really want something, and again, as an actress, with it in your core, it will push you to do better next time and learn from that.
Exactly.
So it was your learning curve, like, for that moment, I guess.
For sure. And also, to fail and to have that experience as an actor, as an actress, is another tool in your toolbox. It's an ongoing battle, I think, within everybody, though. I think it's not very easy to be completely fearless. But something that I learned was, and it's just a weird rule of thumb, if you step out of your comfort zone, something good always comes out of it, within reason, right? I mean, not if you are in danger or being harassed or abused in any way. That's not what I mean. But if something is just outside your comfort zone, go there without fail, because you, at the end, you will always be happy that you did it, or you will have learned something and gained something, whether it was positive or negative experience. The outcome is usually positive. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
And that was just golden, what you just said then. And I wish more people just heard that and believed it as well.
Believed it. Yeah, that's the hard part. Especially if you're young, and especially in this industry. It's very brutal.
It is. Yes. It takes a thick skin.
It does. Yeah.
Which actually I would love to go on to. This carries us nicely to the next question, because auditions. Auditions.
You shuddered.
Because they can be terrifying for many actors.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like we're talking about stepping out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you have no idea what an audition is going to have in store for you. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Yeah. And so what is like your process with that? How do you overcome? Well, I want to talk about two things. I want to know how you overcome any casting fears that you might have. If you have an audition coming up and you have to be in a room with a director, casting director, whatever, how do you overcome that? And I also want to talk about rejection, because this is another thing that as an actor we have to deal with. Let's start first of all with fears of auditioning. Well, do you ever fear an audition?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Most definitely. Still, auditions, I get very nervous. I think if you didn't get nervous, personally, I think then I do worse. So, I mean, obviously not too nervous to the point where you're, incapacitated, but a little bit of nerves helps you to connect to your scene, helps you stay really alert and focused in the moment, and also active, right? And trying hard, no matter your experience and no matter how good you think you are, nervousness takes you back to reality, allows you to be vulnerable, curious, alert, and focused. So I think if you can rewire your mind to think of it in that way, where you turn that fear into nervousness and then turn the nervousness into something that can serve your performance, then you're like, okay, I got this. It's good to be nervous. It's because I want it. That's okay. So it's okay to want something. That was something that helped me accept my nerves.
Normalizing fear.
It, exactly. Yeah. And then, of course, doing the work again. Just getting those, even if they say you can have the script in your hand, get off book. Learn those. Even if you got it the night before, do your best and try and get off book, because then can you really be free and explore with that scene, with the person that you're reading with.
Right. Have you ever been in an audition where you felt like you were really kind of losing control of fear?
Does it count if I got it back again at the very end?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, even better, because then you can talk us through that process.
So I was in front of like a panel of people, as opposed to just a director and a casting director. Ooh. The actual director, casting director, producers, even like the writer, everyone was there. And I had 15 minutes only to do my audition. And everything was fine when I had worked on it at home. But once I walked into there, my nerves just went whoop. My hands were like this. Even my knees were shaking and my lip was shaking. And so the words that were coming out were also like kind of vibrating. And it was not a scene which required nerves. I needed to be a strong, confident woman.
Right.
Yeah, so that wasn't coming off. And then I was feeding off of their reactions to my nerves, which just fed my nerves even more. And they were like, let's try that again. Maybe take a breath. And I felt the tears coming because I was like, I am fucking this up right now, and I've just lost a great opportunity because I can't keep it together. And something strange kicked in, perhaps survival or adrenaline, and I just said it. I said it out loud. I told the truth. Like how I was saying you should do on set. I didn't do the work. Be honest with yourself. But that's not, in this case, it was, I am so nervous in front of all of you that I cannot stop shaking. And because of that, I can't perform the scene well enough. I'm so sorry.
That too,
yeah.
wow.
I just fully said that. I'm like, this whole setup has just suddenly made me very nervous, and I'm so sorry. And they were like, oh, that's okay, all right. And my 15 minutes were up, but they gave me another. They were like, do you want to take a minute and just recenter yourself and try again? And so I did. I just turned my back to them and just pretended I was alone and did my breathing and then tried again. And it was great. But it was only after I was completely honest with them, with myself, like that I could release it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think there's some beauty in releasing your inner truth.
Yes.
It just frees you from it. Yeah. So, but yeah, the fear did really overcome. Honestly, I've never shook that much in my life.
Even just you saying that then, I felt like a weight had lifted off my shoulders, as if I was like you in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, that must have been how it felt, just to be honest with them.
Yeah.
And then breathing, breath work.
Yeah, breathing, relaxation.
In the moment.
Yeah.
I think that's a great tip, because you, as you've just explained there in a really great example, you can do breath work anywhere. You can turn around, you can go put yourself in the corner of the room, go like, 1 minute.
Just a minute.
And just do some deep breaths.
Exactly.
And you're already working on your nervous system.
Exactly. And I think people, these casting directors, producers, they're all humans as well.
Yeah.
And if you show your innermost vulnerability and tell the truth, they will empathize with you, usually, right? They will be like, oh, yeah, okay, take a minute, no worries. And then when you feel that empathy and that support, that also sheds more of the nerves. Yeah. They're not, superhuman judges up there. They're just humans on your level.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man. But
what's been your biggest lesson with regards to self-belief whilst working in the industry?
My biggest lesson in regards to self-belief, it's kind of a little woo-woo, but I learned that the thoughts that we have in our head are extremely powerful, and especially if you have a strong imagination, like a lot of actors do. And so I needed to be very delicate and careful with the beliefs that I held inside me. So back to what we talked about before, about self-limiting beliefs, they really don't serve me. So the lesson was in that particular incident where I was fired, was like, okay, that was a big lesson, that my beliefs are important, and what I tell myself and the story that I tell myself is important in how I present myself to the world and how I see my own self-worth. I don't have a particular moment that you're probably looking for that it happened. I think it was a gradual thing over time, because I don't think it's very easy to tell yourself that you're good enough, especially if you're just saying it and you don't really believe it. So I go back again to honing my craft. The more I do that, the more I have confidence in knowing that I've done everything I can to raise my skills as an actress in order to feel the confidence.
Yeah. No, you answered it perfectly, because my take on that is your lesson was that self-belief, or the belief that you have of your like abilities and about yourself, can shape your future within the career. So because that's what happened to you. You had limiting self-beliefs, and unfortunately it had a negative effect on one of your opportunities. If you had positive self-belief, it could have been completely different. So the lesson there is that what we are telling ourselves, this internal narrative is shaping the way that you show up.
Is shaping the way you show up and the way you see yourself. Exactly. And you mentioned before about rejection, and that is a part of the lesson. And it's something that took me years to realize. But rejection is so important. You must be rejected to be a confident, strong actor. I honestly believe it should be taught, because it detaches from the belief that you're not good enough. It detaches from you from the idea that to take things personal all the time. So in that particular project, you're rejected. It's not because you're terrible or that you're ugly or whatever. It's because you were just not right for that mold that they wanted. It's not personal. I mean, if you're lucky enough to possibly get feedback and they said, actually, the acting wasn't up to par, then that's on you and you can work on your acting. But I think rejection is so important to thickening your skin and to be able to accept that that is a part of the job very quickly, so that it doesn't affect you anymore.
And how do you deal with rejection?
Well, it took me a while, but the big one is to let it go. So you've done an audition, and to book something after, or, like, go to play tennis, go swimming, go meet a friend, go do literally anything except sit down with your thoughts and focus on how you could have done it better, right? So it's like, just let it go and forget about it. Easier said than done. But when if the rejection comes along, know that it wasn't personal, that it wasn't your fault, that you just didn't fit that particular mold. And I understood this more when I started writing. A person would write and have a very specific vision of that character in their head. And so they are hunting and sifting through all these people trying to find that perfect one. You could be the best actor there, but it wasn't what I imagined of the way this person carries himself. I want something else. So it's not personal at all. You just go, done, next, and you move on to the next one.
Right. So great tip there would be, if you do find yourself that you're that kind of person where you go into an audition and then you kind of go home and you're like, I wish I'd done it have something lined up for after the audition, whether it's a coffee with a friend, whether it's gym, just some activity, something that will distract you for the rest of the day. And then hopefully that will, have a domino effect. If a young woman is watching this right now, which hopefully, because that's the intention. What would you say to her if she's holding herself back from acting, or any dream? Actually, I mean, we're getting quite specific here with acting, but any dream, because of fear and low self-confidence, what would you say to her?
Okay. Firstly, what I want to say is that it's okay to have those. Those are the things that make you human, and to accept that that is a natural part of the process. Then take a step back and realize that these feelings that she's having are self-limiting beliefs that are stopping her from achieving the ultimate goal that she wants. If she's passionate enough about acting and she's actively training and all of that, then this is an obstacle stopping her. So instead of trying to jump over it or remove them from your mind, I was saying, just lead into it. Lead into your fear and step into that comfort zone. Just close your eyes and jump in and just see what happens. 99 times out of 100, something good will happen. And you will have overcome a fear, at least for a moment. And you'll know how to do that. And you can go back to that experience if it comes back again. But constantly jutting at this obstacle, at this hurdle, and not allowing yourself to go further will directly lead to you never achieving your dream. Say that out loud to yourself. If I continue being afraid, I will never be an actress. And suddenly it's like, well, hang on, I can't do that. I need to dive in. And that's part of being an actor anyway, is to allow yourself to be vulnerable and acknowledge your own human emotions.
I love that. Yeah. And I know, like we're saying to the young actress, to the young woman, because it's just relatable, right?
Yeah.
Us having this conversation, but it's really to anyone, like any actor, male or female, that's going through this.
Yes, male or female.
Yeah. Looking back now, what do you think was your turning point? The moment that you stopped letting fear control you, and you started taking ownership as a professional actress?
Oh,
if you can pinpoint a turning point, because as we've mentioned, like, it is a process, but anything in particular?
I started training in a Meisner acting class maybe back in 2017. 2016, I can't remember. Anyway, and had never done that particular technique ever before. And I wouldn't say it was in one particular class, but it was over the course of all the classes I did, and we did it for almost 5 years. I overcame a massive fear that my emotions were not interesting, and that they were actually what made me a better actress. So this fear of not being good enough, to show that I'm afraid of not being good enough, that vulnerability touches somebody else in the audience watching that. I'm afraid that I'm ugly and I'm fat and I can't be loved because of that. That is another emotion that touched someone else in the audience. And these are all worthy stories to be told. And that acting class really got that fear out of me, because you are stripped down raw, basically, emotionally, and you have to say exactly how you feel, always. And you have to lean into it, and you have to use it, and it empowers you. So I would say that whole, those few years was my turning point of letting go of my fear, and also giving a shit about how I looked when I was acting. So, yeah, to an extent. I still don't want
to... You mean not as giving a shit as much?
As much, right? Yes, yeah. Exactly. So.
And how do you think that process and that turning point within yourself as an actress translates into everyday life, and how you show up in everyday life?
Everyday life. That process has allowed me to see, to put the attention out of myself onto other people more. That really helps with my own insecurities as well, just to be present and to take in other people's experiences and stories. Was far more interesting than staying in my head and recycling shitty thoughts, right? And so that was an interesting thing that happened. And the other was to be honest about how I really feel and what I really want. Yeah, it was no teetering around it. I feel angry about this, or I really, really want to do that. I don't know if that's a terrible example, but but it's just being honest, okay?
Which is what we want. And kind of just leaving acting on the side now.
Okay.
What advice do you have for anyone with regards to, like, courage and living a more... Like, what would you say to someone to live a more courageous lifestyle, to live without the chains of fear? Kind of just life advice.
Oh, dear. Anyone who would take life advice from me would be an idiot. Sorry.
You sell yourself really well.
I'm sorry,
so
but
glad you came on this show.
I am no guru of any kind, but I could just, my own experiences
exactly,
I can transmit from. Life advice.
from your personal experience?
My personal experience. Follow your heart. It's very simple, but if you don't, it'll keep creeping up on you, and it might be later and later and later in your life. Acknowledge what you want and do it. All the other stuff is just noise, and you will never be fully grounded and fully happy and satisfied unless you're following your heart. And that's not just for your career. That's for love. That is for self-love. That is for where you want to live. It's for everything. Just be really honest with yourself and follow your heart. And now then address all the obstacles that might stop you from doing that, and tackle them one by one. Because there will always be obstacles, because that's life. And that's the other piece of advice is, I know it's so cliche, I'm sorry.
Go for it. Go for it.
We're just going to do a cliche one now. Sorry. But it really isn't about
I love that you're cringing at your own advice right now. Can we just acknowledge that?
Because it's everywhere and everybody knows it. And I didn't coin this term, but it really resonates with me. And that's that it is.
Wait. I feel like we need a drum roll. We drill this up so much.
It isn't about the destination. It's about the journey.
I'm out.
She's left the building. Sorry. But let me just break it down just a tiny bit.
Okay.
All right. Okay. We've all heard that and we've all rolled our eyes now. But if you have a goal and you're working so hard to getting that goal, you are shedding the opportunity to feel the happiness of all the experiences and little victories and people that you've met along the way, because your focus is on that goal, and you've also weighed your happiness there. So you've essentially ruined your entire journey because you've told yourself, I'm not going to be happy until I get there. But the journey is actually so effing beautiful. It's and once you realize that, it's as though time slows down a bit in a good way, and you can savor every moment and feel grateful for it. So yeah,
very beautifully put. Cliche as heck. However, there's a reason. There's a reason why. Because it's true. It's true. Like the minute that you take the focus off the journey, that essentially means that you're not being present. The journey is about being present and living the day to day with the goal in the back of your mind. But enjoying the process at the same time. Otherwise, the days are just being thrown away.
Exactly.
So it's true.
Taking in those little moments.
Yeah.
I will turn this to acting very quick, but it helps when you're on set as well with the imposter syndrome and the nerves. If you just take a step out and go like, oh my God, look at where I am. Like, I got cast in this role and I'm surrounded by all these industry professionals and I'm working alongside a famous actor and this is actually a character that I wanted to do, even though it's small, maybe, at least I have this chance. People believe in me. Oh my gosh. And you just do this little like gratitude and realization of your surrounding moment. And that's it. That's the journey.
Self-cheerleading.
Exactly. You pep talk yourself. But you can't do that if you're not taking in life.
Right.
Yeah. In the moment.
Yeah.
So sorry if it was cliche, but it's true.
But it's true. So deal with it.
So deal with it.
No, honestly, thank you so much. You have been wonderful, and this was such a great conversation.
That was really nice.
So thank you so much for just giving us your time. And
thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
Oh, it was really good. I loved it.
It was. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I feel like we could still talk for like hours.
I know.
Editing, and we also have an audition to go.
Yeah, that's right.